Yeah, buddy. There we are. Look at those guys. I can't even say sexy guys. Just look at those guys.
Like those
Look
guys.
at those guys. Keith might be the sexiest one on here. I don't know. JL and that beard, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right,
Mm.
Johnny. I'm getting worse by the day.
Worse by the day? Well, yes. Aren't we all?
I'm
Aren't we
downward,
all?
just downward spiral.
Oh, man.
You're on the final rung.
Yeah, that's it, man. I'm just barely holding on to it.
All right. What's going on, guys? It's a plot hole after show. It was a fun show, I've got to say. I don't know how long you guys stuck around. I know, Keith, you were in and out. Keith, you heard some of the Greater Sapien conversation with Jerry, and JL, you were over in Team Skeptics live stream, just busting balls.
Yeah, I was. I was listening to you, and then I was going back and forth between you and Team because tonight is Team's 25,000 subscriber celebration.
And big congratulations out to Team Skeptic.
Yeah, wanted to congratulate him, and then my wife came home with food, and so I had to go eat, and then we watched that new airplane thrill with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, 7500, which is actually pretty good. I could recommend it. And then I jumped back in to hear the tail end of your conversation, and then started some shit with that theist in Team's chat. Well, he was saying a bunch of crap and just really, really agged the shit. I was like, he's just spouting off fucking claims with no evidence, and he said some stuff. There's a couple things that theists can say that will push my buttons and get me and just rile me up, grind my gears.
Yeah.
And so I had to retort. I just saying, and first it started off cool. I was like, okay, where's your evidence? Debate me. I was like, debate me. And then he started trying to turn it around on me. He was like, oh, why do you want all this attention from a guy? Like implying that I'm gay or something like that. I was like, come on, dude. It's like, seriously. Deflection to this is not the Matrix. You are not fucking Neo. Debate me.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do they always do that shit? Like, they turn into fucking middle schoolers. It's like, no, yeah, he's trying to call you gay. It's like, you're fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's the only thing they can resort to, because they know they can't hold an intellectual conversation because they're coming from an intellectually dishonest position. And when you do that, you have to resort to, my dick's bigger than yours, ho ho ho.
And I'm like, pull it out and fucking prove it, bitch. I want to see it.
Whip it out.
Like, shut up, I'm not gay. Leave me alone.
It's only gay if you enjoy it. Okay. Not that that's a bad thing. I mean, like I said, you do what you do. Whatever you want to do in your life, you live your life.
You do your truth.
You do
your
man,
truth. That's what's up.
I support your right to be just as miserable as I am.
Exactly.
All right. So, back to the plot hole. I know it's all about me. It's all about me.
It's your show.
Yep.
It's your show.
Mike Raptor says maybe Warren is gay. Maybe he's tall. Maybe his birthday's in June.
Close.
Is your birthday in August?
Well, actually, she got Mike Raptor. She got 1 out of 3 right on that. Bi, short, and my birthday is in June. I am a Gemini.
Sure. I don't know. You're average height.
I appear tall, but in actuality, I'm like a little over 5'7".
No.
Yeah, I'm actually rather short.
Sort of 5'7" is, I think nowadays, like either average or just above. It's like I saw a study that says people in general, like the younger generation, a lot of them are getting shorter.
It's because they're always hunched over looking at their phones.
I didn't think about that.
It's possible. I just know that in 7th grade, I hit 5'7". It was like 5'7.25", and I stopped. So, and I got my mother's height because my mother is only 5'6".
Yeah.
So I got my mother's height, and I got my dad's build because my dad was 6'1", like a little over 300 pounds when he passed away. He's a huge dude.
Yeah.
And so I got his build. I got my mom's height. My brother got my. Oh, we are German, yes.
Yeah.
And my brother got my dad's height and my mother's build because my mother's a very slight woman. Slow. So my brother is like, CK model, fuck you. And I'm over here looking like Gimli's lost twin.
Oh god.
Microraptor says we're shorter because we have less of an ego. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm tall. It doesn't mean I have a big ego.
that evidence fits my brother.
All right. So, what did you think about the conversation with Greater Sapien there, Keith?
I thought it was good. I liked the. I like how fair his perspective was. I mean, it was really good. It was very respectful, especially when it got to stuff that we try to keep things light because it's such a miserable fucking time. I mean,
Right.
in society right now, and it went in a direction that was not like it was all like very strong perspectives as far as like dissecting and actually coming up with thoughtful kinds of solutions that are not just like the talking points of like defund the police. It's like that's not exactly what we're talking about here. That a person that loses their head, and that's the problem with protesters in general, is because they lose their cool, and then all these talking points they just start screaming them, and they don't understand exactly what they're saying. So
Sure.
I really like that he was really informed as far as sort of putting it out there to people that are listening, that might not have really thought about it in a logical term. Things about like, let's focus on education, and maybe, it's not like give people all the money, but give them ability to have resources. And
Right.
I tried to mention, because I was kind of amped up about what he was saying about like, hey, well, right, how about mental health? I mean, work on that. From not just, I hope we make progress in the next few. It's going to take a long time, but even people in impoverished areas that are Latinos and Caucasians or whatever, it's really stressful to have to worry about your family and your life on a daily basis, because maybe you didn't have the education to get a high-paying job, but you have a family that you love. I mean, that's the kind of shit people, some take their own lives because of desperation.
Right.
So I mean, I like the aspect of it wasn't just highlighting the problems and pointing fingers at people like they're doing things wrong, but there was actually a thoughtful, series of questions to actually help. I don't want to say solution, but helpful, logical tips on how to make things better.
Right. Well, some of the things we talked about, like, people will defund the police. They think that means that we just get rid of the police departments. And that's not what that means. You can defund a program and not get rid of it. Education. That's one that Jerry brought up. They've been defunding public education for the longest time, and it's not like they just got rid of school. We still have school, but it's more about reallocating funds, and that's something that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. When I did culinary mentorships and got to know a lot of faculties at like Trimble Tech and Polytech, Northside High School, minority schools that have people that they just don't have. They live in the hood. I mean, they're struggling. And they're just shoving these kids through the system. I mean, they don't have to pass. They just want them in the fucking door and out and get their funding. And they're not taking the proper amount of time. I mean, I got to know English teachers, art teachers, and science teachers over there just because they would come into the lab, or we call it the lab, the kitchen,
right?
Because we had to call it culinary training, and they would just talk to each other, and they're like, "This is." I mean, these kids hardly know how to read when they come into the school, and it's like, what do we do? We can't just keep them here forever, so they end up having to just pass them through the system, and this is happening all the time.
So Microactor asks a really good question. What would hopefully happen if you defund the police? So hopefully what would happen when you reallocate those funds into other areas that might be a little more, that are more, have more of a need, like education, like inner city programs for youth. Hopefully what that would do is, part of that, would generate a need to reevaluate what's important and what the police officer's job is to do. I will say this. I will say that the everyday police officer has been asked to do way too much. They're asked to be animal control. They're asked to be mental health experts. They're asked to be, family counselors and all this stuff.
So social workers, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we're asking our police officers to do that are just not equipped to do because it takes so many years of training to do all of those jobs individually, and now we're asking them to do all of them at once as a police officer. So I do think that, yeah, we need to funnel those funds into other aspects. And again, my biggest point was putting it into education, because if we can hit if we can hit all these areas that are impoverished, that need new schools, need new technology, need better programs to educate our children. And again, not just necessarily, hey, here's a book. My boys, I'm out at an awesome Roman maritime exhibition right now. So Irish Demon basically just said he's out pretending to be 300. That's what he just said. Anyway, so taking all those funds and putting it into into education, into giving parents who are single parents specifically, the ability to be able to go to work and not have to worry about their children being shot or arrested or out doing shit that they shouldn't be doing. Giving these kids a place to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Safe areas where they can get educated, where they can have fun. Like I said, education, that's where it has to start there. It has to start with the education department, because if we can educate people, if we can educate our children, give them options, give them the ability to be able to have not just, well, if you're black, you better be good at sports or you better be able to sing. No. Hey, if you're black, you can be an astronaut. You can be the head of a Kickstarter company. You can do this. You have the same options as everybody else, and this is how you do it. Here's the educational background that you're going to need. So if we could do that, if we could help our children that way, you would see a drastic decrease in these problem areas. And it's not just the minority communities. We're talking about all communities that are impoverished.
Right. Mm-hmm. And what a notion. The prison and the jail systems kind of try to refocus. I mean, some of those funds into forming it as more of a rehabilitation program. I'm not talking about I don't know. It depends on the inmate, but
I think you got to get rid of the private prison practice before you can focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get rid of money out of the prison system too. But again, I think we're even focusing on the prison system. I think that's a problem too, because now we're talking about cure as opposed to prevention. So if we can hit that prevention part,
right.
I think
I just worry about the ones coming out where, if there's any progress made on the streets with the kids and the parents, single moms, just repeating those cycles once you get out of jail. It happens all the time because that becomes their new normal.
Right.
And we don't understand that, but we see it. We know, we're aware of it. With stuff that I've had in my personal life, I don't give a shit who knows, but we have to overcome our own little demons and stuff. And the whole thing is if you're trying to get some help, to try to get yourself armed so I can't affect anybody else when I come out in a negative way, and kind of repeat cycles and cause collateral damage because I'm still fucked up.
Right.
I guess that's sort of my train of thought, so they don't hurt these kids and reverse all the good things, or the single moms reverse all that. Just one person can do so much damage, and it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. A lot of times because of someone else that is either selfish or just didn't have somebody take the time to. It's different for everyone. It's not. It's really not. It's not an easy. There is no easy fix here by any stretch of the imagination.
No, there's just a whole mess of stuff that would have to be done. But we can't use that as a reason why not to do some things, right? We can't use that as a reason to say, oh, well, it's too hard. Let's just put more police out there who are under-trained to do the jobs that we're asking them to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, recruitment, that's a big one, too. It's like, vetting them. And did you see that article I think it was a hairdresser that put it out, and they said they listed the lab hours they had to have in education hours versus to become a police officer, and it was like lopsided, like by almost half.
Yeah.
It's like you can have a gun and be a police officer and just get shoved through there, and maybe you're not properly vetted. I'm sure they're not. And not even have to have as much training as a hairdresser or
right. Yeah, it's pretty sad
crazy.
You have to go through, what is it, 2 years? No, it's not 2 years. Is it 2 years? 18 months.
1,400 hours.
Yeah, I think it's like 1,400 or 1,500 hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And again, there are some of the people in the chat talking about it's not an easy fix, but we have to find something. Mike Rapp talked about it's always complicated, and this is true. It is complicated, but we do have to figure it out. We've got to start somewhere. So if it's we need to get funding, like I said, again, I think we need to start with funding education. I think that has to be the first place to start. Get them before, like I said, prevention is so much different. It's so much better of a tool than reaction. Oh, now we have to fix a problem. Well, let's prevent the problem from happening instead of fixing one when it does. And people don't like to do that because they think, well, if I don't have to spend the money, why should I? Is it going to stop all crime by funding schools? No. By funding education? No. It won't stop all crime. There's going to be crime. That's going to happen.
Also, one of the biggest things is ensuring that when people do get out of prison, regardless of how much time they spend there, if they serve their time, they get out, that the stigma there should not be a stigma that follows them on that. Because one of the biggest reasons that there is recidivism and why recidivism rates in America are so high is because these people who get out, they serve their time, they pay their penance, they get out, not parole, they finish their stuff.
Right.
They lack opportunity, and they end up in the world, or basically the way society is set up, does not allow them to reintegrate as easily as it should. They can't find the right jobs. They can't apply trades. We've got situations where we've got prisoners going into prison. We got people going into prison. They're in there for 10 to 15 years. They actually learn a functional trade, which would make them beneficial to society. Then they get out and they can't get a job doing it. So they have skills that they can't even market. Mm-hmm. And so what do? They fall back on the only thing they know in order to either pay the bills, buy food, or do whatever. And they wind up right back in.
Well, so
because they made a mistake, they got in, but then we set them up to fail.
Exactly.
Is the problem.
If you don't give them a legitimate chance look, if I can't afford to house myself or feed myself, I've got a choice to make. It's called survival. What do? If I can't get a job, if I can't legitimately get a job to be able to pay my bills because of a mistake that I made, that I've already paid for, I did my time. I did my however many years. Yet I can't get a job because I'm a, quote, convict. Then, I'm going to go back to prison eventually because I have to eat. I have to.
I think is it Norway that has one of the lowest recidivism rates on Earth?
Yeah, have you seen those prisons?
And one of the things, and one of the things that they do is they ensure that every single prisoner, regardless of how much time you're spending in, every single person walks out of there with marketable trade skills that they can apply, and they have the opportunity to get it. So in other words, they're doing their time and they are prisoners. Okay. But it's also like a trade school, like a vocational school.
And it's not a traditional prison either, right? So it's like it's not like a housing community. There aren't a whole bunch of walls. You have certain times, you know, there are curfews, and it's more restricted living. But they don't put you in cells. They put you in a house that you have to take care of.
They don't treat you like animals, is what
Exactly.
it is.
They treat you like a human being. And when these
Or
guys get
or
out,
as I think team was talking last night, they don't treat them like they're not slaves. When
right?
they go into prison, they do not lose their civil rights, or there's no forfeiture of their rights as citizens. So
Yeah, you kind of touched on that in a pretty powerful way tonight, Johnny, when you were talking about how'd you put it? When you went into, you know, they reintroduced the touch of slavery because when they went into the prison system, they turned them into free labor.
yeah,
Oh, exactly.
And it wasn't the kind of labor that they're gonna, you know, what I mean, you're gonna be stamping fucking license plates and picking up stuff on the side of the road to feed your family after you get out.
oh, the worst is California when they were having their prisoners go out and fight the wildfires.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're taking their prisoners, they're giving them firefighter training, they're giving the equipment to do so, and when they come out, they have, depending on how long they've been and how much time, because they actually earn like $1 an hour because they're going out there fighting fires, and then they actually come away from that experience fully trained firefighters. Maybe they're not paramedics, but but they do have firefighting training.
Right.
And they get out and they can't apply any of that shit.
Yeah,
Right.
because there's not a firehouse. Well, I won't say there's not one, but very few firehouses are going to give them the opportunity, being ex-cons.
Oh yeah,
Right.
no state entity will hire a felon.
Right. You might be able to volunteer, but you're not getting paid for that.
Yeah, definitely the marketable skills. That's. I mean, it should. It's so. I mean, it should be a given. I want to say it should be a given. That's a real broad statement. I don't want to talk in that general of a term, but like, okay, so Trimble Tech and Northside High School, they know this section of kids. A lot of them are not going to college. A lot of them can't afford it. They're not going to get scholarships, so they hit their tech programs real hard. You know, teach them how to work on an engine. Teach them how to do body shop mechanics. Teach them how to paint vehicles. Teach them how to do electrician work. They even have HVAC training, and they gain college hours, hours to go into trade schools through those programs. And that program's been around for a long time because, I mean, my dad went to Trimble Tech in the 70s, and he lived in the projects, and that shit was
Right.
that's pretty rough. Back when they were near TCC, where it was.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he lived there, and they knew, it's like, dude, the income level of the students that were there and the opportunity rate was so minuscule. It's like, well, a lot of them are just going to turn to a life of crime, or just a life of just living barely in poverty.
Yeah.
So they really, even back then, ramped up, and they were at the forefront of giving these kids marketable skills like culinary.
Right.
That's why we spend so much time with them, give them self-confidence. You make sure their uniforms are pressed, things like that.
Yeah, so Little Wolf, AK82 in the chat, says there's a lot of good trade schools and programs, but they get less noticed. And whereas that is
That's true.
What I would like to see, though, is primary schools, high schools, whatever, having auto shop again, having culinary classes, having all different types of options, and then we garner a education plan specific for a student. Do we think that everybody's going to be a rocket scientist? No. Some people don't. They just don't care. They'd rather tinker on an automobile all day long. Cool. Let's encourage that. Let's give them the basics, the basic skills that you'll need: reading, writing, some math. But let's not overload them with shit that they're not interested in. Let's give them the opportunity. Teach them how to overhaul an engine, or teach them how to, make a souffle, or teach them how to build furniture, something, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We make those education plans that are tailored to what the student wants to do, and then we continue that when they get out. That way, they have options. They have real life skills when they graduate high school. Not everybody necessarily wants to go to college, and that's cool. If you don't want to go to college, that's cool. But what skills are you going to have when you get out of high school if all they've done, if all that primary school has done is taught you how to pass tests and get you to college?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I got a really good look into this. They were trying to recruit me into Eastern Hills High School.
It's like when I say Eastern Europe, I'm like, don't do it.
Yeah, they were trying to send me to Eastern Europe.
I'm kidding.
No, but I was taking my the vetting process to be a well, I'm glad, because to be a teacher is like,
yeah,
it's a pretty long process. But it got to this. But I had a real problem with it. It showed me a breakdown of their grading system, and it's not really. It's kind of weird how it works, because they work you on averages rather than individual like care of the student, as far as like getting them to, learning their learning styles. They didn't really cover. It's like everyone learns different. They started doing that in the 80s. Are you audio? Are you visual? Are you tactile?
Right.
And their grading system was really funky. And this is a Fort Worth ISD school. And basically they take a average of the entire class's grades, and one guy could be flunking, but if enough people are, acing it, and then you got the other part that is not, or not keeping up their average, or maybe if they go from I scored 4 and now I scored an 8. Well, look, he doubled his grade, where he needs to be like 70s. And then the school retains their funding. The teacher doesn't get in trouble, and the teachers actually work on a bonus system as well.
Yeah.
For those kinds of things, that was a little screwy. I'm like, I don't know, man.
The whole No Child Left Behind business, and just the way everything went standardized testing. Yeah. All right, let's get off of that subject. Let's talk about some fun shit. JL, you're over there awfully quiet, which makes me think that you're still trying to bait that dude into a debate.
No. I'm going back and forth. We got. I'm trying to figure out how to edit my my JM Truth takedown video of his Superman fan film. So I have the script written out, and I'm really pleased with it. But I'm not sure how to run it. If I'm going to be like looking down the screen, like I'll have it pop up there and then stop it and then talk and then hear, or if I want to do that, or if I want to do like a running commentary, or if I want to like show it and then stop it and then come on screen and talk, or whatever. I'm not sure what will play best.
Mix and match.
Well, I've never done this technically would be my first YouTube content creation.
Right.
I've never created anything for YouTube specifically, and given how bad that fan film was, I really want to destroy it. And I've already got my guys from Week in Horror. They've looked at it and they're like, "What the fuck?" So I'm looking forward to doing it, and I think it's going to be funny.
Sure.
But
there's a lot of material there.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how exactly to present it. And I think it might be one of those, because I don't feel like doing a reaction video, like, JL reacts to this, because I've already seen it so many times.
Right.
I'm just going to go, but...
Well, then, yeah, definitely mix and match, right? So there's some parts that you could kind of just make commentary over, cut out the bullshit, his awesome audio direction.
Because to be honest, I have a lot to fucking say on this, and I've written like.
So you're coming at it from a filmmaker.
Oh yes,
yes. And you have a background in that, so you actually have educational point of view to springboard off of.
Yeah, and I also want to throw in when I'm doing it. I don't want to just sit there and be like. I mean, I could sit there. I could just like shit on it. But I think that would be boring. So
no.
I actually am spicing out, or I'm dropping in little nuggets as to this is why you failed and this is what you could have done. Because if there's another filmmaker that watches it and be like, oh my God, that's a good, like little tips and tricks that I picked up along the way as both, in my days as a guerrilla filmmaker and as a low budget filmmaker. There are little things that I know how to do, little do-it-yourself tricks that can mimic, like high-end equipment. Like, if you need a dolly track, you need to run a dolly shot. I can't afford a dolly track. Those are very fucking expensive.
Yes,
So I can make you one for $50, and it works beautifully with PVC and skateboard trucks. It's not hard. You just got to know how to do it. So dropping little nuggets of wisdom in there, like I don't have a diffuser. You can use wax paper, spread it out over a deal, clothespin it to a deal, and then you just add layers to continue to diffuse. Or I need a reflector. Tinfoil works really well. So shit like that.
A reflector. Just go get one of those. Get one of those. What is it, like the car windshield. There's your.
Oh yeah, you can use that. Yeah, I'm just talking about like if you need to run into the kitchen and grab your mom's like a Reynolds wrap.
Right.
It's like
just things around
that makes a good reflector. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Just little tips and tricks that cost no money, and you can get the exact same effect. And he didn't even do those things. So and which goes to show he didn't go to film school. He didn't go to learn from people who've been like my mentor. I have the two people that mentored me, one in acting and one in film. T.A. Taylor and Clark Lindsley. Clark Lindsley has over 50 years in the industry. Okay, he's one of those character actors who's been kind of in the background, kind of like Glenn Morshower and individuals like that. You don't know him, but you have seen him, and he was my film mentor. T.A. Taylor was my acting mentor. He's been in the business for over 40 years. So there's little things they teach you, and JM didn't do any of this. He literally grabbed a camera, went outside, and shot his friends. And that's fine. You can do that. You can start that way. That's great. Everybody's got to start somewhere. But don't do that and then get online and say, I'm a master videographer and I've run production companies. Don't pull that fucking bullshit with me. Do you have any idea how many 48-hour film festivals I've worked on to say that I'm at least a legit professional? I mean, I get paid a lot of money for it, but I do get called to work on projects. Fuck that motherfucker.
Yeah. Let's see what Mike Rapp says. JM claims he works in that industry. Would he be expected to know these things? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I don't work in this industry. I didn't go to film school. I wish I did. But yeah, everything that JL's talking about, that's like basic shit.
Yes.
Maybe not all the little hacks. You kind of pick those up as you go. The building of your own track. You think about it, especially if you have like an engineer style mind. I mean, if you think about what a track shot is and how it works, and you look at how much they cost, like fuck that shit. How can I build that? How can I build
a dolly track is a monster. That is expensive.
Well, so yeah, they're huge. They're stupid expensive. I mean, we're talking 20, 30 grand.
And you're not just talking about the tracks. You're also talking about the equipment that you need to set up to make sure that your camera, the one that you're using, is functional with it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's compatible with your rig, and if it's not, then you got to go out and get the stuff to make it compatible.
Exactly.
And then he goes and like pull shit like, oh, I had a crane shot, I had a crane operator stuff. It's like, you had a fucking crane shot in that thing?
Where?
I went back and watched it. It was like, no, that's called a jib, you dumbass.
Yeah.
That counterweighted jib, and all you did was go, The difference between a crane shot and a jib is a crane is a crane. A jib gives you about 6 feet.
Yeah, height.
So give me a fucking break, dude. Come on.
So yeah, I think that he would be expected to know these things. I haven't done anywhere near what I should have done hours wise. I've had my camera long enough that I should have been racking up. I mean, not necessarily my 10,000 hours, but I should be close to. I mean, I should be up there. I should be close to like 1,500, $2,000 hours wise, and I haven't done it. I just haven't made it a priority, and that's on me. But even still, I know how to manipulate my camera in certain ways to get some of the shots that I'm looking for. And I don't say, oh, fuck, I know everything. You can't teach me shit. No, I'm like, hey, JL, how do I do this? Or, hey, this person who does this, what are some of your tips? What are some of your tricks? And then I do it.
And then even then, I still I've gotten very lucky in my career. I'm not famous, but I've gotten a chance to work with a lot of really extraordinarily talented people who've given me opportunities to either to assist and direct for them, or to write for them, or to choreograph or something, or to fucking act and be on camera. I don't know why anybody wants to see my ass on camera, but
I don't want to see your ass anywhere.
I started working. I started working with a Sony Handycam.
Yeah,
that's where I started, with a Sony Handycam that I got used from a friend, and it didn't even last that long. It was on its last legs. But I worked with a Sony Handycam, and I've gotten a chance to get my hands on everything from that up to a Red. And while I'm not a master, I'm familiar with them. Every set you can learn something new. You can always pick up something new, or you always run into equipment that you have not used before.
Yeah.
Like you know how to use a tripod, but not all tripods are equal. Not all tripods are the same. It may take you a moment, and so be willing to learn. For every set you're on is a learning experience. You walk onto a set and you say, "Oh, I'm the fucking master. I know what I'm doing," and you don't know the difference between a fucking 25 and a 30 millimeter lens. Fuck you.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think he gets a new piece of gear, and then instead of taking days or weeks to learn it, to use it, to test it, to get a couple test shots, rack up some footage on new gear, he just says, "Okay, cool, I'm going to use it. Boom, let's do something with it," and then it looks like ass.
That's the thing. You got to know how to use your shit. At least pull the goddamn instruction manual out and read it.
At the very least.
Hey, JM, do you want to shoot this in 4.3 or to go for aesthetic, or do you want to shoot in 16.9? They go, I don't know. What do you mean? Just shoot it.
Yeah. Somebody made mention about, JM, he thinks that shooting on a DSLR means he's a filmmaker. And look, I have some pretty good DSLRs. That's what I shoot all of the plot hole videos with.
And they're nice. See the quality right there on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, so they're good quality. Is it a Red? Is it a fucking C300? No, of course not, because I don't have fucking 15 grand to buy the body and the lenses and all the other bullshit you need to go with it.
You're not running 8K.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
What the fuck? Unsubscribe. Yeah. No.
8K is expensive, damn it. But I at least know what I've got, and I know that I don't know everything. And as a student, I've been a student. I mean, all my life I've been a student. Having that ability to say, I know some things, but there's a lot of shit that other people can teach me. And having that type of attitude versus the JM truth, fuck you guys and everything. You can't. I'm a modified sniper. Fuck off.
Fuck off with that shit.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it was only because he can run his mouth about his bullshit science background or his embellished army career or his embellished military career. I don't know if he was in the army or not, but obviously I know enough. I have enough friends who are in the service. Team was in the service, Fight was in the service.
Yeah,
you guys. I don't know if Keith, you were. I don't know if either of you guys, but okay. But we know enough people in the service. These guys know when someone is bullshitting them.
Yeah.
Okay, when you put on, I don't know what they're called, but over here on the side, you see the I'm talking about the ribbons.
Yep. Ribbons.
I can't remember. There's a specific name.
Oh, your color guard.
Yeah, like that. But those have a specific order that they go in.
Yes.
You put those in the wrong order, motherfuckers. No, and
yeah. I'd love to see those videos of those motherfuckers getting popped for stolen
valor, motherfuckers. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying he stole his valor. I'm saying he embellishes his fucking career. So he embellishes his career. He fucking bullshits about his science degree. He bullshits about his background. It's like, I've had 3 production companies. Why don't you just have one that lasted? You stupid fuck. So, I mean, it's all that. When he hit, I was like, I'm going to make a movie. He was like, oh, you're going to make a movie? I watch movies. I'm gonna watch your movie.
Did you see that zombie film he did?
I've seen enough of it to know it's shit. I've seen the long clip. So the whole deal in the alley when the zombies all run up and the one female one runs up and like sniffs him and then does a 360 around him and then he shoots her in the head. I was like, and of course it's the same issues. His sound is completely off. His lighting is completely fucked. He doesn't know how to set a stage. He has no symmetry to his frames. It's like he doesn't even have production meetings before he walks into this thing to talk about what his actors are going to be doing.
Yeah.
He doesn't walk the set. He doesn't walk the locations. He doesn't, spike anything so the actors know where to fucking go. And he's like, he sets at the camera and says, just, oh, this is what you want you to do. Just fucking do it. And then he shoots. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah. So I lighting for me is a struggle because it's lighting. It's outside of sound. I think lighting is like the most important part to get right with professional film and video, right? If your lighting's fucked up, you have weird shadows, it's gonna, unless you're doing it on purpose, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. Same thing with audio. And
that's my weakness. That's my weak area. Sound is legitimately my weakest area, and I that's why I always make sure that if I'm doing something, I have a top-notch sound person with me.
Yeah, so sound is like me. I've been in sound engineering for years. I mean, years, and I still learn. I still try and hone my craft. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a master at it by any stretch of the terms. I'm pretty good at it. I know some shortcuts, not shortcuts, but I know some saving ways to save times, and I know my way around my equipment. If you put me in like fucking, I don't know, Studio A in New York City, I would be a little overwhelmed because I haven't worked in that type of environment before. More small scale in the box, like on screens and whatnot. I can, finagle and maneuver. I could learn, and I would love to sit down and get into a huge studio like that and learn more. And that's where I think JM just doesn't. He doesn't care. He doesn't care to further hone his craft. He thinks he's good. He thinks that everything, I'm good, so I'm a filmmaker. No, you're not good.
No, he knows how to hit a record button.
Exactly.
That's about it. And the minute he figured out how to hit the record button, he automatically assumed that he knew everything.
I'm just
what is that? What is that? Top left of Dunning-Kruger?
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I look forward to that. I'm looking forward to that video from you because I like it when people shit on JL Warren. No. I'm kidding.
I was waiting for the punchline.
That was the punchline.
It's like there was no punchline.
Your mom's the punchline.
Oh, jeez, there it is.
Ah, yeah.
No, I like watching people take the piss out of idiots like JM Truth. And you saw my Daniel Pratt, yes?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I had that one.
Man Bear. That man has a new name. I fucking laughed my ass off. I decided to pause the video. It was just, what was the line? Give me the line. Give me the line.
Jeez. What did I say? I can't even remember. It was off the cuff.
You gonna threaten me with something?
Oh yeah, what are you gonna come and you're gonna hurt me, you big old man bear, you just a big man bear or some shit like that.
You basement buffalo, you.
Dude, what got me is it reminded me of something when I was watching it today because I love those funny moments in comedies where they did it a lot in the 80s when they did the freeze frame.
Yeah,
and you nailed it like this when he did that stupid face and his lips are like going two different directions, and it just went stop in this fucking dumbass face.
Yeah,
and you're like, this motherfucker.
Yeah,
he's spending too much goddamn time by his water heater. That guy has got to have carbon monoxide poisoning.
Oh god,
there's something of that nature. I mean, he's breathing some shit down there.
That would explain a lot. And
at this
thing, I hope that's an electric water heater, but it looks a lot like a gas water heater. That's what that fool sits in the morning and smokes his cigarettes and drinks his coffee.
Smokes his cigarettes.
like good God, dude.
Boom.
So Little Wolf, Little Wolf asked, was he the guy who went to the store and was bleeding at people? Like the sheep, bah, right? No, same kind of concept. I think they could be cousins.
I remember that video. The guy who who had the mask on.
he
Weird.
cut out everything. He just had just the outline of the mask. Yeah.
So it was like a balaclava, but it was out of a surgical mask or some shit.
And then he was talking. He started bleeding at people as he was walking out.
Like you're all fucking cheap.
Yeah.
I don't like violence. I don't resort to violence. I'm in my youth. I had a really hard time. I was an angry kid. I was a fat kid. I was picked on. I was really mad. Took it out on the world.
Yep.
I'm 40. I've left that shit behind. I would have punched that fucker in the face.
That's just some dumb shit. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Who's next on the in the crosshairs there?
I don't know. I thought about doing like Jesse Lee Peterson. You know what? I do have a thing planned for Nathan Thompson. You guys saw that Geo Party thing crap he does, right? Where he tried to sing the theme song.
Yeah, he was doing the Flat Earth game show.
Yeah.
Is what he was in.
He calls it Geo Party. It's supposed to be Jeopardy, and we get that his wordplay is just stupid.
Yeah, and
that's really stupid.
That moment right there is how I knew, because being an atheist. Yeah, we can't say that God does or does not exist. There's no evidence, unfalsifiable. Not true, because no God of any power whatsoever would have allowed a flat earther, a tone-deaf flat earther, to put that rendition of the Jeopardy theme into the fucking universe. There's no way. No God would allow such a thing to exist. There is no God.
Yeah.
We have our proof.
I gotta say, I'm a spiritual man, but everything you just said makes sense.
It's hard to argue. It's hard to argue. But no, so I saw Simon Dan's review of that. It was on one of his like Flat Earth fails or whatever. And I was driving to work, and I like to listen to these guys on the way to work. And I heard Nathan Thompson do that, and I was like, "What?" And then I immediately, there's a certain scene in the film. I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to spoil the video, but there's a certain scene in a certain film that immediately popped in my head as soon as I heard this shit. So I said, "Oh fuck yes, I got to do this because it's great." And I've got that part. I've got that ready to go. I just need to build a video around it. So I'm going to look and find other stupid shit that he's done, which is really easy to do, and then make some commentary on it.
Oh, this guy. What was it? Dan's cringe face.
Yep.
His cringe face when that thing came on was so precious. It's just that, because the way I love Dan's setup, and just the way he's just kind of like.
Yeah.
Oh.
Lord, my goodness, their team is they're still going.
Team is still. I don't know how. I mean, I love Team to death. I just don't know how you can platform Flat Earth Aussie stupid as long as you have. I think is he still on there? Or are they talking to Sean right now?
No, he's still on there. So they have Tony Purcell is still debating. Flat Earth Ozzy Roscoe.
Well, Tony is fucking amazing. That dude is a legit authority. And
yeah, I don't understand why he would do it. I guess for the fun. It's fun for him.
That's the lulz.
Yeah.
But Flat Earth Aussie Ross, I'm just calling him Ross. Ross lost all fucking credibility when he called. It was at one stream. In one stream,
yeah,
he called math wizardry. He insulted Craig.
You call him an invalid.
He called him an invalid when he's a disabled veteran.
Yeah.
So he insulted Craig, and he cited. There's a conspiracy out there that the Queen of England uses the Royal Navy to drug traffic.
Okay, so here's the thing. Whereas I don't often say what I'm about to say. Often. When you look at some of it, I don't believe that the Queen is having the Royal Navy do that. Okay, but what was it? 18 months, maybe 2 years ago, we had that that Army convoy plane that was coming into the States from South America that was confiscated that was full of fucking dope, of cocaine. And it turns out that there were a certain part of the United States Army bringing in dope, just like back in the 70s we had the Army. Well, we had certain people in the Army helping funnel in heroin from Cambodia and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah, that shit was hardcore going on because
It still
predominantly
is.
predominantly because during the war on drugs, after Nixon declared the war on drugs, Reagan ramped it up, and when Reagan super fueled it, the CIA was using operatives to go into South America and try to infiltrate these things, shut them down like this. But if these guys ever got burned and their information got found out, they were basically disowned or disavowed by the agency.
Right.
And with their disavowed by the agency, they can't come home, so they can't come back to the States. So if you are a CIA operative with field training who's been disavowed by the U.S., you have marketable skills. You need to make money. You need to live. Who do you sell your skills to?
Yep. The people who have the most money.
Then we end up having our own operatives utilizing our own tactics against us. They have the whole playbook, and they're giving it all to the people they were supposed to be fighting because those guys are willing to dump millions into their coffers because they don't have a country anymore. So, oh well.
Hey, this is not. I don't know if it's relevant or not. George Sr. was the CIA director under Reagan.
Yep.
I don't know why they just popped in my head.
Yep, that's true.
Interesting.
So yeah. Anyway, JM Truth, stupid video. Who's next? Who's next for me? I don't know. Again, I don't know. Nathan, I got that little thing for Nathan Thompson. I've kind of put a lot of my commentary on the back burner. I'm still trying to do things to stay active because again, I think we're sitting at 465 or 466 on the subs, and I'm trying to get to 500 before the end of the weekend. Don't know if that's going to happen. It might happen sometime next week when I put out the highlight video with Greater Sapien. But I've been working on this other project. We've talked about it before on Irish Demons stream. JL, I've reached out to you about it a little bit, trying to find the best way to kind of put these things together, so you know a little bit about what I'm talking about. Don't want to get too involved with that tonight because again, I'm not ready to talk about it. But so that's been kind of taking up a lot of my time. Microraptor says, please convince JL to call himself JL Truth. And then have a debate with JM Truth.
I would love to, and I love the fact that she came up with JL Truth. That's fucking amazing. I didn't think of that. I should have thought of that myself. But JM will not debate me.
No.
And that is because, I think it was because I contacted JM via email because I wanted to interview him. And I wanted to do like a legit interview, and that wasn't designed to trap him because it was back when Team was very much of the mind that he could save JM. And I was like, oh, this might be a good vulnerable moment that I can actually go and I could talk to him. So I emailed to talk to him. And then he got it in his head that I was trying to set him up, and then stopped responding to me, and there's nothing. So he cut me off. And now that Nathan has gotten his claws in him and dragged him back in, by being his only friend, I don't think he'll ever like speak with. If he hears my name, he most likely will never speak to me because I've talked a lot of shit to him in super chats, and if my name comes up, he'll probably be like, no, but he won't talk to me. So it would be funny, but he won't talk to me.
It would be funny, and
that's also kind of why I'm doing the video. Why I want to do the takedown video of his movie is because that may bring him out of the woodwork to try and defend his shit.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, he will defend it poorly.
I'm curious as to what he'll say. I really am.
But he will defend it. He'll say something. Yeah. So I really do look forward to that video. What's next on the Weekend Horror? What do we got coming up?
Ooh, well, this next episode will technically this next episode coming up that we're recording on the 24th I actually have my calendar right here in front of me. Will technically be our 40th episode, our legit 40th episode. It is also, we also have a special guest on, cinematographer Andrea Palea, which I'm really excited to have her on because she is a badass cinematographer.
Yeah.
I worked with her on a short film that Eugene directed. So I'm looking forward to having her on. That's going to be a sweet episode. We're going to be talking about, I think, oh shit. I'm totally spaced. I have the
blah 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 blah. Golly.
You having a stroke over there?
Yeah. So, I told you
No,
it
okay.
happens. It happens at this time.
Now, so we're gonna have Andrea on, and we're talking about The Unearthly, which is a sweet Ed Wood style horror film. Tetsuo the Iron Man, which will be a lot of fun, and then Midsummer and that Creep Fest Goodnight Mommy. We're gonna be talking about those when she's on. So that's coming up on that. On the first of the month, we have our June Bloodbath going live on our Patreon, which was really, really sweet. That was fun. That was Jigsaw versus the Collector. That was a really, really good one because that one went to sudden death. So that was
how do you guys score those?
We score them by comparative points. So if he brings up a point, so if my opponent, if one opponent brings up solid point, like for Jigsaw, I don't want to spoil anything on that. But like the Blob versus, because we did the Blob versus the Thing. For the Blob, it was the Blob is immune to damage, is immune to physical damage. It's like, okay, cool. So the Blob gets a point there. It's virtually it's invulnerable. But the Thing can break down and go into multiple parts. So even if you destroy one, you have to get all of the cells. You have to get all the pieces. So that's one for that. Do those two cancel out, or is one more than the other one? And then the judges will determine which one, and then they score points that way. And Jigsaw versus the Collector came down to a sudden death. We were tied straight up the middle, and then we had to go sudden death, give another closing argument, and then finish it off that way. That was really, really fun. I don't want to give away who won that.
Yeah, for sure.
That was me versus Alex.
That's awesome.
I know who won that one. I did. I won that one because I get to listen to
it. So we got that, and hopefully I'll have the Jam Truth video up soon because Weekend Horror takes up so much of my time.
Yeah.
I'm working on that as I can, but then Team put this guy, Pastor Gary Kim, who's this lunatic out in California with this King James. His sermons are like King James version only, so he only operates off the King James version of the Bible, and he talks a lot about end times and Nephilims and Satan and all kinds of wacky.
Oh, he's a Revelations guy.
Yeah, and so
those guys can get pretty fucking nuts. I mean,
and okay. If you look at what he does, Why You Are an Idiot, that asshole is the Great Value version of this guy. No, only those who shopped at Walmart will know that we'll get that reference.
Yep.
But Team put him in my crosshairs, and I've looked into some of his videos. Some of his videos are just like interpreting scripture and shit like that. Anybody can interpret scripture. It's pointless to go after that. But he's got some wild claims like Nephilim at the bottom of the sea, and the Antichrist is real and on Earth. And
sounds like he played too much Diablo.
So interesting shit like weird, crazy shit like that. I think about maybe going after him, just giving him a little takedown because.
Cool.
Yeah, that'd be easy because even if he was well versed and believed part of what he says, first of all, so like the combination of angels and human beings mixing together live at the bottom of the sea.
Yep.
Where are you just making shit up now, or what the fuck?
Making shit up.
Yes.
And that's the fun thing about talking to a fucking nut job. They'll crack, and then they'll show their fucking. It's like you're a lunatic.
Yeah.
They do it every time.
Like a baboon, just a big red fucking ass in your face.
Exactly. It's like,
and
you can tell it's like they try to hold it together, and you're like, wait for it, and you're a psycho.
And the worst part about it is that he's basically anti every other Bible but the KJV, and there is epistemic problems there alone
Yes.
with solely focusing on the KJV, which we know demonstrably is a doctored version of the Bible designed solely to prop up and propagate the agendas of King James. That was his intention, and he wanted, and because the church and state were not separate, he needed the church to back his policies,
Yep.
and so the Bible was doctored in order to. That's why it's the KJV, it's the King James version. So, that whole kind of shit. It was like already you're working from a biased text, which means every conclusion you come after is going to be biased.
And it's really stupid because even if you're a Christian or whatever and you're worth a shit, I mean, like in seminary, you have to understand the Quran. You have to understand, you have everything from Deuteronomy to Revelation, and kind of like you just have to be well versed in it. You have to understand the religions of the entire world, because it all kind of like
everything stems from the same place.
Yep.
From the time when human beings all originated from the same place on Earth before we disseminated out into the world. After Neanderthals died, when we were all in the same, we're basically in the cradle of life around Mesopotamia. The reality of it is, it all comes from the same place. All religions come from the same place. It can all be traced back to one area, to one place, back to the time of the Akkadians, and even languages, all religions, all of this stems back to when we were a small collective tribe, right in one spot, and then we just took it with us. And over 150,000 years, everything just kind of evolved naturally, is the way it goes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, come on. The flood story was plagiarized from Gilgamesh, and it was taken from Sumer, and that was taken from Akkadian. Sorry, there's no argument.
And a lot of these things are parables. I mean, they're sort of lessons that, like, if you open your mind, what a novel thought.
You get better shit from Aesop's fables.
Yeah, well, so the Bible, people don't realize the Bible's supposed to be allegorical. Has to be. Because you can't take that shit literally.
That would be our take, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but there are literalists. There are literalists out there who say that Adam and Eve existed let's go forward a little bit. That the flood existed, and we're all stemmed from Noah's family, despite the fact that mitochondrial DNA directly refutes that shit. The way it was like, oh no, it just worked differently in God's time, or did work differently then because God needed to work differently. It was like
special pleading.
Special pleading. Special pleading.
So Mr. Andrat makes a really good comment, talking about the hint is in what he means, the word version. Yeah, the fact that we have different versions, that is telling in itself.
Right.
And we don't even have the original. We don't have the original. It's a copy of a copy of a copy of a translation of. Well, exactly.
Let me just say this really quick. There's no such thing as an original Bible. Okay, nope. Because you have to understand that even if we go back to the first known recording of a book of a Bible, it happened something like 200 years after Jesus supposedly walked the earth.
And that's even this as close as we can get.
Yes.
We can't even 100% determine authorship. Like,
right.
We get close.
Here's the thing. It wasn't like John said, "Hey, I'm going to go write some bunch of shit down." He that was stuff that he told people who told somebody who told somebody who told. And we've all played telephone. We've all played that game.
That would be because at that time, because unlike the Egyptians and unlike the Chinese and unlike the Japanese, unlike those societies where the written word and written history was so important to them.
Yes.
Palestine, where all of this generated, was huge on oral tradition, was nomadic tribes spreading oral tradition. And then once the Romans came in, the Romans, did their whole kind of thing over there, and Orthodox Judaism was still polytheistic. It still was oral tradition because they didn't have the means to write down and scribe everything as one collective tome, so they had to do it in secret. They did, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and then hundreds of years later, everything gets put together, translated, assumed, whatever, and then we have the Bible is the American language of that religion. It's mishmash. It's taken from all these little different pieces and then put together, and then some shit was left out because it didn't fit a narrative.
Right.
You can't trust anything where they leave books out because it doesn't fit the story that they want to tell.
You can't trust anything when they leave sentences, paragraphs out, pages.
Entire books.
Yeah,
there are
let alone
14,
entire books. Yeah.
There are 14 books in the Apocrypha, okay, that were left completely out of the Bible because it doesn't fit Christianity's narrative.
Right.
Done. You have lost all credibility when you have left shit out that could be important to what actually happened. Sorry.
Yes, just gross manipulation that lies within every human to so you can control. And taking something that possibly could have been ultimately enlightening and healthy, just on a maybe intellectual level, if not a spiritual. And because we're a bunch of dicks, we just go and fuck it up.
True.
Now, we're dicks because we're survival minded.
That's true.
And survival, not just I need to eat, I need shelter, I need water, but survival that I need power, I need security, I need to ensure that I have the resources allocated so that my children can survive, and I'll do anything by means to do that. And if that means manipulating the people around me or to get money from them, and all I have to do is promise them that if you give me money, you'll get to heaven.
Yeah, give me money and you'll get money in the afterlife.
Exactly, or like Copeland, the motherfuckers now.
Yeah, I think we touched on this when Johnny, when you put out the Copeland, we were sitting in the same forum. We kind of touched on that. I like that makes a lot of sense, like more logically. AKA, I just call it we're dicks.
Yep. All right, here we are.
But I understand what you're saying.
This has been fun. I like doing these after shows. It's a lot of fun. Let's see here. Tomorrow, Master Debaters, Best in Series, Scream Edition. That's tomorrow. You get to see J.L. Warren, myself. What the hell was that?
No, that you said Debaters. Sorry.
Oh,
that was a face fap.
God,
that was
Lord have mercy.
It's a sound effect.
I got you. Anyway, Master Debaters, Best in Series Scream Edition tomorrow night. 8:00 stream time. We're going to debate Scream Best in Series. Tune in for that. Play along with the live chat because I've got prizes. I got a Scream poster that I'll give you. Lots of fun. Cool. So yeah, 8:00 tomorrow. We'll get that done, and then JL and I we're going to do. What do we got? Oh yeah, we're going to do Event Horizon for Movie Review Monday.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I love
this would be cool.
I love that movie. And people don't understand that's a haunted house movie, not a spaceship movie.
It's a haunted house movie in space.
Yep, exactly.
That's why I want to see the Anderson cut so badly, because according to Paul W.S. Anderson, there was a lot more that was supposed to be in that movie. And hopefully, with the inspiration of the Snyder cut coming out of Justice League, hopefully that will inspire other directors to get their cuts out, and we will see an actual Anderson cut of Event Horizon.
I mean, in fairness, I think his was more and this has been a minute since I've seen his comments on it, but what he was talking about is it doesn't change the story so much.
No, it just adds. There's just more to it. There's more content,
and it focuses more visually.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of characters that you get a little bit more stuff on, but for the most part, Zero G Ghosts. Yep, Zero G Ghosts. There was that for a little bit. I mean, I got to tell you, without spoiling too much about the movie review Monday, had I walked in on the Event Horizon and saw the shit they saw when they walked in, I was like, guys, fuck this shit. Let's get the fuck out of here. I'm done. I'll be the guy in the spacesuit that doesn't spend any fucking time on this ship. I think he had the best job. Anyway, so tune in for that on Monday, and then JL says you'll have his JM Truth video out sometime next week.
I'm hoping.
Yeah,
I'm hoping. I want to get busy on it because I know you're going to have Prime Red on there, and I'd like to have it because he kind of inspired it because he did a really brief kind of look at it,
and it was good. Yeah,
he was really good. I'm not trying to outdo him, but I want to go deeper, and I want to hit Jam right in the fucking Joey, right in the Joeys, you know,
in the Joeys.
Yeah. All right, so do fucking hell. That's what happens when you get tired. I'll see if I can catch it. Oh, yeah. So, Mr. Android, if you can, be awesome. So, yeah, Master Debaters tomorrow. Master Debaters. I got to be careful. YouTube and their fucking community strikes.
Master Debaters.
Master Debaters. Best in Series. Tune into that tomorrow night, 8:00. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm Johnny O from the Plot Hole. Everybody else is going to say goodbye. We got JL Warren. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm JL from Week in Horror. Check out the show. New episodes every Sunday.
And then now we have Keith.
Oh, weekinhorror.net.
Yes, weekinhorror.net.
Yeah, as always, she got the Late Late Show here. Like and subscribe the YouTube channel, please. We got a lot of traction, a lot of fun. We have sweethearts over there like JL, of course, always a pleasure. A lot of different subjects, always stimulating. So if you want to be stimulated, please come here. We will stimulate you.
I'll stimulate anybody for subs.
We'll stimulate the hell out of you. So here's the thing. I bought the Team Skeptic shirt. I'm going to show you that I bought it. Here it is right here. Okay. I bought the Team Skeptic shirt. Here it is. Boom. Boom. I'm not going to show you the rest. I just fucking full Monty'd myself. Damn it. Anyway, I told Team that as soon as I got 1,000 subs, I'd wear that in the next plot hole video. So, yeah. Share this out. Get everybody to subscribe. Get us up to that 1,000 spot. Awesome. I really appreciate all the subscribers that we do have. I really appreciate the interactions. And yeah, you guys are awesome. I'm Johnny O from the Plot Hole, and I think that's it. We're done for the night. We'll see you tomorrow. Cheers, guys.
Peace.